Are you looking to move to the Atlanta area? Are you considering those suburbs that are possibly north of the city? If you are, you're going to want to stick around for this video as we explore the northern suburbs of Atlanta and learn a little bit more about what it means to get around and what some of the insider tips may be. So stick around with us. Before we dive into the map, hi, I'm Christie with Georgia Lane Realty. We are a team of agents that service the in-town and north of town metro Atlanta areas. We have lived and worked in the Atlanta area for over 30 years. We know all the great cities and neighborhoods around town to help you find your next right home. If you're interested in learning more or getting the conversation started, our information is on the screen. Be sure to send us a text or an email and we can get this process started. Okay, let's get into this map and see what we can learn about the northern suburbs of Atlanta. Okay, now that I am out of your way, we can take a better look at the map and start from there. So what you're seeing right here is a screenshot of the city of Atlanta. As a reminder, the city of Atlanta has an important interstate that runs around it, and that is Interstate 285. That is that circle around the city center that you are seeing here in red. Oftentimes in Atlanta, residents will call that the perimeter, and so you'll hear a lot about how people live either ITP or OTP, and that just means whether they are inside the perimeter or ITP or outside the perimeter of OTP. Today we want to talk about an area north of the perimeter that covers a lot of the very popular northern suburbs. Now I have shifted the screen up a little bit here. As you can see, the downtown Atlanta area right in the center of the perimeter has moved to the bottom of your screen because what I would like to focus on are these northern suburbs, as I mentioned. So the areas in particular, we will be starting on the west side with Interstate I-75 that runs from the center of the city and up through the western suburbs. We're going to come around the top area here and then also cover those cities that run down along Interstate 85, which starts in the northeastern suburbs and comes down into the city. And again, we're going to try to stay outside of the perimeter today to talk about things that may be of importance if you're looking to live or move to this area of Atlanta. So as I mentioned, roads are very important here, mostly because of Atlanta traffic. And so traffic is a big consideration when moving to this city. You want to make sure where you buy your next home aligns with where you work, where you plan to be traveling, where your school or church is, where you are going to be going on a day-to-day basis to ensure that you're not moving to an area that's going to be very difficult with traffic in your daily life. So since these northern suburbs are so popular, we do see a lot of traffic along the major interstates heading in and out of the city and around the city on a daily basis. What typically you find is a lot of people will buy homes in this northeastern suburb. This is in Gwinnett County, maybe you've heard of it, along this top perimeter, along this northern suburb, kind of directly north of the city, and in this area to the northwest of the city. These are major hubs for people to buy homes and live in and around Atlanta. Due to that, what you see oftentimes is a pretty hefty commute when you are traveling from one of these suburbs down into the city for work in the mornings and then out of the city in the evenings. So a lot of your heaviest traffic is going to be flowing from the northern suburbs down towards the city in the mornings, and then obviously from the city back out to these suburbs in the evening. So that is definitely something to consider when you are looking to buy your next home around Atlanta. One benefit to the city of Atlanta is outside of these major interstates, and once again, this Interstate 285 that runs the circle around the city, known as the perimeter, this area between Interstate 75 and 85 is often referred to in traffic reports as the top end perimeter. So if it's possible to avoid this strip of interstate on your morning or evening commute, that's probably advantageous for you because that does tend to see a lot of the congestion during those times. What you do have the benefit of in the city of Atlanta, as you can tell from this map, are a lot of surface streets. There are also some lesser highways that are often used as well. One of the major ones is Highway 400 that starts right here in the northern suburbs and comes down into the city into Interstate 85. You will see this get pretty heavy on your morning and evening commute, especially if you're traveling in from an area like Alpharetta down into the city and then back up that way in the afternoon. So all things to consider, I wanted to mention a few other roads that are often used in your commute around the city as alternates. Obviously, I always recommend when you are traveling around Atlanta, even if it's not during your morning and evening commute, just going various places around town, definitely always want to consult with your GPS on your phone. Because there are so many different routes that you can take, it's always a great idea just to double check that GPS and see which one is going to be the best one for you that day. So a couple other routes I wanted to point out while we're looking at the map here is if you are in these northeastern suburbs, this is Buford Highway, also known as Highway 23. It runs pretty parallel to Interstate 85 and comes into the city. Buford Highway is actually known as a global foodie corridor and is home to Atlanta's most diverse culinary destinations, offering a wide variety of international cuisines. Along this road, you will find a mix of Asian, Vietnamese, Caribbean, Middle Eastern, Indian, South Asian, and even African cuisine. Along with restaurants, it is also home to a lot of specialty shops, such as the Buford Highway Farmers Market is really well known. So definitely a place to check out if you're into a variety of different cuisines. Definitely going to be able to find something of what you're looking for along Buford Highway. Kind of parallel to Buford Highway is also Peachtree Industrial. I mentioned this in an earlier video. It is actually a road that runs starting downtown in Atlanta and up through the inner Atlanta suburbs and then up into the outside of the perimeter area. It changes names a few times as it travels throughout the city. The portion of it that is outside of the perimeter is known as Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. You have a lot of people that travel along Peachtree Industrial on a daily basis. One little tip I wanted to tell you is that if you are someone who likes to drive a little faster potentially than the speed limit, definitely watch your speed on Peachtree Industrial in this region that runs through the city of Duluth. They are notorious for speed traps and areas in which it is easy to travel faster than you intended and get caught for it. Just wanted to mention that. Moving along towards the west, one of the main roads you will see is this Highway 140. 140 is a major road that you can get off of Interstate 85 on. The exit is actually Jimmy Carter Boulevard, and if you are traveling westbound on 140, it will take you all the way into some of the more western suburbs such as Roswell and can get you over to Marietta. The driving ability from the eastern suburbs to the western suburbs is not the easiest. Over the years, there have been several plans proposed in the area to create more of what's called like an outer perimeter, something that would run essentially what I have marked here, kind of joining 75 and 85 at a more northern point. These plans have been discussed for years. Nothing has actually ever come about of it, but just to say, it is not the easiest path to get from east to west or west to east. Once you are north of the perimeter, you are going to be taking a lot of surface streets, and while it's possible, it's just something that you'd have to consider, it being a longer commute to move from one side of the suburbs to the other. Now talking a little bit more about the suburbs on the west side, a couple of these roads that are really important are going to be Cobb Parkway. This is this road that runs right here parallel to 75. Once again, this was Interstate 75. That was kind of the border of where we were talking about today. So this road that runs just to the west of that is going to be really important when traveling along the western suburbs. Obviously, it runs really close into Marietta, which is a very popular suburb of the northwestern part of Atlanta. So Cobb Parkway is an important road to understand. You are also going to want to know about Barrett Parkway. That is this road that kind of runs north to south almost, and as it travels over I-75 turns into Piedmont Road. So something to keep in mind as well, as that kind of traverses a different way through these suburbs. And then similar to how Interstate 85 has 985 that splits off from it and heads a little bit more north, 75 has the exact same thing with Interstate 575 as it splits off and heads more in a northern direction. Now that you may have a little bit more of a better sense about how to travel around the city and the suburbs, let's talk about some of the more popular cities that are in these northern suburbs. So a lot of people are going to be focused, as I kind of mentioned, in this Gwinnett County area. It is a very fast growing county and was one of the fastest growing counties through the 90s. You will also see a lot of people living in Alpharetta, Milton, very popular current suburbs of Atlanta, as well as Roswell and Dunwoody, Sandy Springs. There's going to be a variety of house types that you're going to find in these areas. As you move a little bit more towards the west, obviously Marietta is a big suburb of the Atlanta area, as well as Kennesaw if you go a little bit further out. One thing we didn't really mention is that we talked back in one of my earlier videos about a lot of the attractions here in Atlanta. I mentioned that Atlanta is home to the Atlanta Braves, but we didn't talk about where their stadium is. Within the last decade, the stadium moved out of downtown Atlanta and moved up into the Cumberland area. That you will find here right on the merging point of 285 and 75, right next to Smyrna. It's known as the Battery, and it is a great place to spend time during the summer months. Go watch some Atlanta Braves baseball, spend time at the restaurants right there. It's very family friendly and community focused. I will say traffic in this area can be a bit congested during ball game times. Also, parking is an issue. An insider tip is there's a lot of parking areas around the stadium that aren't necessarily the parking lots associated with the games. If you can get into one of the parking lots associated with the games, those are great. They have a lot of walking paths and direct paths to walk to the stadium from those parking lots. But if you happen to be going to a more popular game, which with the Atlanta Braves having won the World Series in 21 and having been in the postseason for several years now, they are really popular here in Atlanta. So some of these games get really crowded and the stadium will sell out, which means the parking lots will sell out. And sometimes you just don't have the chance to get parking passes when you get your tickets. So just know that there are a variety of other options for parking in that area. You can obviously Uber. One thing to know though, if you're going that route when going to Truist Park, you may encounter some delays on the back end of the event. A lot of times right after the game, the Uber lines are very long. So keep that in mind if that was kind of your go-to option. Another option is several of the businesses in this area will actually turn their parking lots into paid parking spots. So if you can get into one of these restaurants, sometimes you can bypass a lot of the stadium traffic by doing that. So keep that in mind, a little bit of an insider tip. If you're coming here to Atlanta, you enjoy going to the pro baseball games. The Braves are a great team to check out. Definitely want to go check out the Battery. It's a lot of fun. Just keep in mind that parking can be a little bit tricky at times. As a quick reminder, if you're enjoying today's content, be sure to like and subscribe our channel. Hit that bell notification so you can be alerted each time we post a new video each week. Next, in these northern suburbs, I would love to focus on some of their top rated schools. A lot of times people move out of the city and into the suburbs just to find a variety of great ranked schools. There are great schools with inside the perimeter, but you're going to find even more of those once you move outside of the perimeter. So we're going to start with Gwinnett County. That is what is highlighted in the red dashed line here. That is Gwinnett County. I wanted to feature the top 3 ranked high schools in Gwinnett County to give you a sense of where those are located. Once again, just as a reminder, here is that perimeter area that we've been talking about, and Interstate 85 runs right through the middle of Gwinnett County. So our top ranked high school in the county of Gwinnett is North Gwinnett High School. It is located here in Suwanee, Georgia. It is a 10 out of 10 on the Great Schools rating. Wonderful high school to attend. Actually, where I attended high school, very proud that it is the top ranked high school in the county. It was several years ago when I attended. Next on the list is the Gwinnett School of Mathematics, Science, and Technology. Obviously a newer school. It is located in Lawrenceville, so here it is a little bit further to the east than this line of Interstate 85, still obviously right in the center of Gwinnett County. Also, side note, Lawrenceville is the county seat for Gwinnett County. If you're interested in learning more about either Suwanee or Lawrenceville, check out our separate videos on each of those cities. Gives you more of a sense of what it would be like to live in these areas. The 3rd ranked high school on our list of best public high schools in Gwinnett County is Mill Creek High School. It is located up here in Houston, Georgia. Once again, we have a video on Houston. Be sure to check that out for more information. As a quick reminder, once again, I'm Christie with Georgia Lane Realty. We are a team of agents that service in town and obviously north of town, metro Atlanta area. We would love to be your agent to help you find your next home. Our information is once again on the screen. Be sure to send us a text or an email and we can help you get the process started. Okay, let's get back to looking at which counties have the best schools and where they're located. Okay, so moving directly to the west of Gwinnett County, we are going to talk next about Fulton County. As you can see from the map, Fulton County is probably the most unique county in the entire state. As you can see, a large portion of the county is located here north of the perimeter. Once again, just for reference, here is Interstate 75, here is 285, and here is 85. So a large portion of Fulton County is located north of the perimeter. You also have over half of the in-town area is considered Fulton County here to the west of this line. And then you even have a large portion of the county to the southwest of the perimeter. So this county is a very unique shape, as I mentioned. I wanted to focus more though on the sections of Fulton County that are within this area of the northern suburbs. In consideration of that, the top 3 high schools in this area are all actually located in the same city, which is so unique. But, you know, each year greatschools.org reevaluates the rankings of high schools, and while there are so many great ones in Fulton County, it just so happens that the most recent rankings have the top 3 for Fulton County all located in the city of Johns Creek right here. So the top 3 high schools in order are actually Northview High School, Chattahoochee High School, and Johns Creek High School, all located within an 8-mile radius in the city of Johns Creek. And I know I sound like a broken record, but go check out our other video about Johns Creek to learn a little bit more about what it's like to live and work in that area. And then finally, as we move to the one more county to the west, you will end up in Cobb County. Cobb County is pretty equally on both sides of this Interstate 75 right here and is encompassing all of Marietta. Wanted to talk about the top 3 high schools that are ranked this year on greatschools.org in Cobb County. Interestingly enough, all 3 of the top 3 high schools ranked this year on greatschools.org are considered in Marietta. However, as Marietta is quite a large city in the suburbs of Atlanta, it's not as unique as all 3 of the Johns Creek high schools being ranked for Fulton County. So the top 3 high schools start with Walton High School. You will find that right here in the area of East Cobb. So this is where you'll find Walton High School. Second on the list is Pope High School. That is up here just to the west of Westfield. And then the third one on the list is Lassiter High School. Lassiter High School is just northwest of where you would find Hope High School, so kind of all in the same general area, all considered in the Marietta city limits. That's where you're going to find those top-ranked high schools in Cobb County. But once again, there are so many great schools in the northern suburbs of Atlanta. All the ones I've mentioned today have either been ranked a 9 or a 10 out of 10. That's based on a wide range of important metrics such as diversity, test scores, etc. So keep all that in mind as you are looking for your next home in the North Atlanta suburbs. And finally today, I want to talk a little bit more about where you may be able to find some of the more affordable housing options in those 3 counties that we just covered that make up the North Atlanta suburbs: Gwinnett, North Fulton, and Cobb. When looking at Gwinnett County, you're going to find some of your more affordable housing in the city of Lawrenceville. You will also find some here in Norcross. And then I know this got cut off a little bit, but also in Decula. These are going to be some of your more affordable cities in Gwinnett County. There's a mix of housing options which allow some of these homes to be on the more affordable end. A lot of times you can find homes in these areas in the mid 300s, so that's definitely something to consider if you're looking at Gwinnett County. If you are focused more in the North Fulton area, it may be surprising to learn that Alpharetta is one of the more affordable suburbs in this area. I will say North Fulton in general tends to be a higher price point for homes in this area. Alpharetta, however, though, has more of an established neighborhood. It has been a popular suburb for decades now. So you're going to find some of those older homes. You'll also find condos and townhouses in this area, which obviously reduces the overall price of housing. So Alpharetta may be a place to check out when you're home searching in North Fulton. Also, there's a variety of housing options in Roswell. Some of these houses are going to be on the more expensive end, but there could be the possibility for more affordable housing in those 2 cities in the North Fulton County area. Finally, with Cobb County, the further you get away from the perimeter, the more affordable the housing is going to be. Marietta, obviously a really big city, so you're going to find some pockets of affordability in this area within these great school districts even. But as you travel out further along 75 and get into more of the Kennesaw area or even Ackworth, a lot of times you can find even more affordable housing as you travel further away from the city. I hope today's video has been informational and allowed you to learn more about the northern suburbs of Atlanta. There's a variety of cities and neighborhoods around town. Obviously, all have a different vibe and kind of community feel. That is where having an agent like us here at Georgia Lane Realty can really be beneficial for you. We know the ins and outs of these neighborhoods and cities. We understand the different vibes that each puts off. We also know where you can find different levels of housing affordability. Working with us can really help you hone where you may want to move to Atlanta and help make the whole home buying process easier and more efficient. We would certainly love to work with you. Our information is once again on the screen. Be sure to send us an email or a text. We would love to get the process started. Let's figure out where around Atlanta makes the most sense for you to buy your next home. Be sure to like and subscribe these videos. Each week we bring you new content focusing on different areas around Atlanta so that you can get a better sense of what it's like to live in this awesome city. Hope to see you here again next week. Bye-bye.